Hi guys, so I am here to film what may be my absolute most asked for video, and not just like from YouTube but from my friends or on Instagram or just life in general, and that is a video showing how I do my makeup. And particularly the one I get asked the most is how I do my highlight and contour. And I had two friends ask me to do this video this weekend. I did my friend's makeup on Saturday night and she was like, you need to like film something because I'm gonna buy all these products and I want to know how to do it myself. So I was like, okay. So if this is something you're interested in, then just keep on watching. And if you're like, where are my candles? I don't care about this. Feel free to X out. It's all good. And yeah, keep on watching to see how I got this look and all this stuff on my skin. Okay, so as you can see, I am starting with some of my face already done. I already have foundation on, I already have my eye makeup done, and I also have my eyebrows done. So I'm just gonna real quick take you through what I have on my face right now in the order that I put it on before I start packing on my contour. So I started with a primer, and what I like to start with is the Smashbox Primer Water. I keep this in the refrigerator so it's very cold and refreshing when I put it on my face, and that's because my skin is very dry and I'm also using some acne treatments. So I like to just spritz this on. It like calms and soothes the redness in my skin and just really like I don't know, it's soothing and it feels nice. And it leaves like a very dewy finish on my skin, which I'm just about that life. And then I went in with primer number 2. I'm just a high maintenance biatch and I use 2 primers. Do you? So this is the Makeup Forever Step 1 in the color correcting green shade. As I said, I have a lot of redness down my chin, on my cheek areas, because I am using a retinoid to help with some acne issues. So yeah, I put it on my hand, tap it with my finger so it warms the product up and really helps it absorb into my skin as opposed to sitting on top of my skin and looking cakey. And I just tap, 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 tap it in. And leave me a comment or let me know if a full foundation routine, priming, and color correction is something you'd be interested in seeing. I'd be happy to film it. And finally, the last thing I did was foundation. And during the week, or like if I'm just running errands, I do tend to stick with a drugstore foundation. I'll save my higher end foundations for the weekends. I've been using the L'Oreal Lumi Cushion. I just started using it this week, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. This is very, very sheer. This is just one layer of it over the primer. And if I had a better quality camera, you'd be able to tell how sheer it is. So if you like full coverage, or if you're very oily or even combination skin and you want more of a matte finish, I would not recommend this. This is very dewy, this is very moisturizing, hydrating, great for dry skin, or normal maybe, but it is very greasy. I feel like if you did have any oils on your face, it would probably just slide right off. And yeah, it's a very, very sheer light coverage. It is buildable, but you won't build it up to a full coverage foundation. Even if you build it, it's still gonna be pretty sheer and definitely on the lighter side. So that's all I have on my face. Let's get into the contour. We're gonna start with concealer. And what I like to do is I like to highlight first, and then I put my contour in. And if you are wondering what the hell do I highlight, the best trick I can give you is to take your hands, your middle fingers and your thumb, and make sort of a heart shape around your face from your eyebrows down to the bottom of your lower lip. And inside that heart, like right in here, these are the areas you want to bring light to. That's the area, the center of your face essentially, is what you want to come forward. And then everything outside of that heart is what you want to cast a shadow on and sort of bring back. So when you're making things light, you want the light to reflect off of it so it can really come forward, whereas the shadows, you want to just absorb the light and come back. So you want to take a look at your face. My face is somewhere in between a heart shape and an oval. I think it's more heart shaped. I do have a pointy chin, and it really just depends on like where my body fat is at the moment. So right now I'm a little bit fuller in the lower cheeks because my body fat's a little higher, and that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna conceal that shit and bring it back. We're gonna start with concealer. So right now, I'm in between 2. I really love the NARS Creamy Radiance. This is a very full coverage concealer. By all means, you can buff it out with a beauty blender, but this shit is thick. So if you like a thick, heavier concealer, this is all you. If you want something lighter, which I'm gonna use now because this is just a lighter, more sheer makeup look, I really like the Sephora Bright Future Serum Concealer. I think it's like $9, but this stuff is awesome. I was like a slave to that Maybelline concealer that sort of looked like this, but it does sort of like cake off now that my skin's very dry and it's just like not doing anything for me. And this is so moisturizing and really just soaks right into my skin. So let's get right into it. So we're gonna start with the under eye area. As you can see, I do have a little bit of bags. Even with foundation on, I don't really get dark circles, so I don't do any sort of color correction. I mostly just get puffiness, and this does have like an iridescence in it that is gonna bring that radiance to that area. And I am just gonna take it right here, and I am just gonna make a triangle underneath my eye. So I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna bring it down the side of my nose, down the cheek, and up and out. So we have this nice crazy situation going on. And like I said, this is very blendable, very sheer, so it may look like I'm putting on a lot, but trust me, once I get in there with that damp beauty blender, it's really gonna sheer out and it's not gonna look this crazy. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye, really concentrating the product right under my eye and letting it sort of sheer out as I go down that triangle. And you wanna go right up, over your cheekbones, back to your temple. I go a little bit onto the side of my nose, and then I'm gonna go to my Cupid's bow, pronounce that little shit, and then I'm gonna come down to my chin, a little bit here. And then I love to highlight and contour my nose. I know some people don't, a lot of people don't. I do. I like my nose. I like the shape of it, so I like to bring attention to it. Why the hell not? If you've got it, flaunt it, right? If you like it, by all means, like, go to town. So I'm gonna put this on my forehead. I like to bring it towards the arch of my brows and kind of just make my forehead appear a little bit wider on top, because I'm really going for that like very like full center of the face and like exaggerating, because my face is naturally heart-shaped but a little less so right now. So I kind of actually do want to exaggerate the fact that it's heart-shaped. I'm gonna go in with this guy. Oops, my mini. I know some people hate this, but I like it. It works for me. It gets all up in those corners. Scooch forward. So I'm gonna go in here and just really, I'm not rubbing, I'm just pressing, dabbing and dabbing and pressing, and that's it. Just pressing that product into my skin while also really shearing it out and just getting all in there. Most importantly, shearing it out towards the bottom here, because I just don't need it to be that heavy down there. And I'm going to just go up and around there. And then if there's like little areas, like inside the corner of your eye, if you want to blend that a little bit more, I just take a fluffy little concealer brush and just blend it out a little bit further. I'll come back in with that beauty blender and we're blended. So now I'm gonna do the other side. So with both of my under eyes blended out, and as you can see, this side looks a tad bit heavier, a little lighter than the other. So I'm gonna go back in with that beauty blender that has some foundation left on it and just darken it and blend it a little bit more. Now I'm gonna go back to the bottom here. I'm just gonna take the clean side of that beauty blender and buff out that light area on my chin, my Cupid's bow, up my nose. And again, if you need to, you can just buff it out a little bit more with that brush. And coming right into my forehead and just shearing it out. So then I'm gonna go back with that foundation side and just darken my hairline a little bit more. So I have that little blemish over there and I just wanna make sure that I don't have to deal with seeing that. So I'm gonna pop tiniest bit of concealer over it. Goodbye. And when it comes to blemishes like that, I am just gonna tap it in with my finger because I want the warmth of my skin to really melt that product into my skin and not look like it's sitting on top of the zit or rub off with a brush. So now we're highlighted. Next step is to set it. I use 2 different setting powders for the different areas of my face. I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Contour Kit and I am going to mix the banana shade and this sparkly pinky one. I really want to bring some radiance under there, but I want that yellow to kind of cancel out any dullness. And I'm just gonna pop this same in that triangle shape as I did before and bring that setting right up over into my temples, over the cheekbones. And then for the center of my face, my nose and my chin, I'm gonna go in with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powder because I don't need much pink or yellow in these areas. And I just really like this center shade right here to set the top of my forehead and my nose. So I'm gonna go on in with that. Oh, there's on the Cupid's bow and the chin. And then I'm actually, before I even go in with my contour shade, I'm gonna just buff this off, and this is just a clean fluffy brush, and buff that out so I don't look like I have powder sitting on my face and I don't look super cakey. And then I'm gonna take the two darker shades of the Ambient Lighting palette, and I'm going to just kind of buff that into the bottom half of my face, around my hairline, just to set that foundation. And it just helps, like when you're putting a base shadow on your eye and it makes the rest of the shadows really nice and blendable, that's just gonna really help my contour be nice and blendable. I am gonna take a tapered brush, and this tapered brush is going to be for my contour, and I'm gonna go right back to the Anastasia contour kit. And I don't know if you can tell, my chest is a little darker than my face, so I do my contour to match my chest. So I'm gonna go with these darker shades. Where are they? These are the two I like to use. This is a little too orangey red for me. When you're going for your contour, here's the most important thing, right? You wanna go from, I have these little like sideburn things. So you wanna go right here from the top of your ear, like right where it comes down. And you wanna follow that line under your cheekbone right to the tip of your lip. So this is your contour line right here. So you don't even have to fuck around with all that shit. It's the same line. You're gonna find it just putting your brush from that top part of your ear right to the center of your lips, and there you go, boom, contour line. You wanna concentrate the product mostly up by your ear here, more so than down here, because the further down you get with that product, just the muddier it's gonna look, and you really just want it strongest back here, because that's where your cheekbones should be the highest, and that's where the shadow should be cast. You really wanna try to think about where the shadow would naturally fall on your face and really just follow those shadows instead of trying to outwardly create new shadow. I'm gonna go in here and just buff it in. I like to bring it down and sometimes up around my cheekbone and just really round out that cheek. Thing is, when you're doing your contour, you always want to blend up and never down. So I'm just gonna take that product and blend up in circular motions with the brush, taking it up, 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 and just really casting that beautiful, lovely, natural shadow. Oh yes, there we go. There's our contour. Really buff it out, and it's okay if it looks a little wonky down here because I'm gonna show you how to fix that. So there we go. Up on the forehead. And I'm just gonna go right along my hairline. I don't like to bring this shadow down too much, and I'm going with circular motions here. I don't like to bring the shadow down too much because my forehead's not that big. I don't really wanna make it look any smaller. I just wanna give it some dimension and balance out that heavy contour on my cheeks. So I'm gonna go to the other side, and I'm like literally in my hair more so than even on my skin. I'm taking this just all the way up. Like a nice bronzy, glowy halo effect. And then sometimes if it came down a little too much, I'll go right back in with that brush I use the lighter powders with nothing on it, and just blend. It's just all about blending. So now I'm gonna contour my nose and my chin, and then I'll get down to my jawline. Like I said, a lot of people don't like to contour their nose. I personally do, to each his own. Taking the exact same shades on a tiny little fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna go right here, line. And I'm gonna come a little further. So like if the side of my nose is really here, I'm gonna come right up here, almost like right onto the center. And I am just gonna swoop it right down, come a little bit up into my eyebrows, and really concentrate on the tip because my tip is a little bit rounded and I want it to look a little more pronounced and sharp as opposed to like round. Now I'm gonna go right under my chin, and I will put a little bit of that dark contour color right under my lip. And it just kind of pops that chin and makes your lower lip look a little more fuller with that, like, it's like your lip is like so luscious that it's casting the shadow onto your chin, and it's just like, because I need some help in the lip department. So I'm going to contour my jawline, get rid of any double chin situation, and I'm just gonna, I mean, this is like the easiest part. You just go right under it. Shadow out that double chin, bring it down. Do you see that jawline? I'm going to carve out my contour underneath my cheekbone. I'm gonna use my Laura Mercier translucent powder. I'm going to just see all that powder there. Take my damp beauty blender, get just the tip, and straight line, kind of round it under the cheek. See, this is what I was saying before. Don't be afraid if it's a little muddy on the bottom. You can always fix that. So now you look like a fool, and that's okay because you're gonna brush that off. Before I brush it off though, I'm just gonna let it bake for a second. It's not a full bake, it's like a 30-second bake. And I'm just gonna go in with this cheap Milani blush. I just really like this color. This is actually one of my favorite blender shades for eyeshadow. I love to put this in my crease and use it as my blender shade. It's really pretty. I'm gonna use the same brush that I use with the contour. I'm not even gonna clean it. And I'm just gonna take this right on the apples of my cheek and blend it up towards my temple. I'm gonna go back with that fluffy brush and just whoop, powder be gone. But do you see how even after you brush it away, even if it's only on for a few seconds, it holds that beautiful, gorgeous color, just so blended and just beautiful looking. And I haven't even set my face. Like, this is straight up powder and it's still like glowing and radiant. I'm gonna go in with a real quick highlight, and I'm gonna use my favorite, hands down favorite highlighting, which is the Becca Skin Perfect. I like a lot of highlight. Like, I sort of go to town with it. I just don't think there's such thing as too much highlight. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Again, I'm gonna sort of go in my finger just to really exaggerate it and make it really intense. That's what the finger does, is it's just like warming the product, pressing it into your skin, and really making that highlight pop. Also going to bring it on my chin just a little bit, and the tiniest bit of product on my forehead. By all means, you can skip this because this can always make you look a little bit greasy, especially if you're oily. I wouldn't recommend putting highlight on your forehead, but I'm gonna do it, to each his own. I'm also gonna take a little bit and do just the tip of my nose and right here at the top of the bridge. Use my finger to dab this on my Cupid's bow. And then I'm gonna go back in with that blush brush and a little bit more blush and just really make sure that that highlight is blended, chilling underneath the blush, and that is it. I'm gonna finish the entire situation with my Urban Decay Chill Setting Spray, which is just gonna make everything look wet and dewy and get rid of any type of powdery look and just make the powder melt into your skin and make this powder and makeup look like skin and not like makeup. So shake this up. I don't know if you have to do that. I just do it, I shake it. Close your eyes. Breathe it in. Now, if you're oily, or if you are not about that glowy, dewy life, Urban Decay does make a spray for oily skin. It's called D-Slick, and it'll just absorb that oil. It'll be like a blotting sheet, but just on your face. So, yeah. And that's it. I am highlighted and contoured, and yay! If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more makeup tutorials, how-tos, etc. I'd be happy to do them. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye guys.